welcome to Mission Nonprofit. I'm your host, Robert Cam. On Mission Nonprofit, we feature a local nonprofit organization from the Thurston County area, and this month we're featuring Sustainable South Sound. And with me to talk about Sustainable South Sound is Joe Heyer, who is a board member and a project manager for Sustainable South Sound. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so now you're on the board of Sustainable South Sound. You guys have two different main programs that you do around town, and one of them is the Buy Local program, and people out there might have seen this coupon book. Of course, it's going to look different because you're going to get another one out soon.
Oh yeah, 2015 is coming. I just saw the cover and think disco.
Disco,
yeah.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
And what would this one be?
That's kind of retro to me, I think, maybe. You know, we got some of the same elements, of course, but our cover designer is a great graphic designer and likes to have a little fun. So
good.
This year's got more of a neon tinge to it.
Oh, okay, good. So this is a great coupon book that gets people out there shopping locally. Yep. The local organizations featured in this book. And how do you find all these? I'm going to look through the book here. You've got some places, Harlequin, of course, Bagel Brothers, Olympia Food Co-op. How do you go about collecting all of these local businesses in this book? And what do they
Well, to be honest, the first place you start is last year's book.
Okay, yeah.
No, but it really is. I mean, that's the first source, our ongoing members year after year. And the number of members in the book goes up and down over various years. But really, it is taking last year's book, and then we wander around town. We look, we check, we look at chamber memberships, other listings, new business announcements, advertising out there, and as I say, wandering a bit sometimes, just to see where the businesses are located and who's opening up, and then engaging them in the concepts of the Buy Local movement.
And you're a local business owner yourself.
I have owned local businesses since 1996, so 18 years with various businesses.
I'm going to assume you're in here? Your business is in here?
All of my businesses that I've pretty much ever been associated with have been a part of the Buy Local program.
Good. So you're a perfect authority on local businesses. Having been a business owner for so many years, you're a local business owner. So what else does the Buy Local program do for these sponsors?
Yeah, we produced the coupon book. In addition, we've got a website with a full searchable directory. And it's not just by business name, but by category. So if you want to know restaurants or you want to know merchandise, you can search through our members on the website. Now, we admit we're still getting all the members up and inputted into the website right now. Beyond that, we hold various events on occasion, member-to-member networking, some public showcases. The idea is to, one, get our members out there and present, but also to educate people on the value and importance of shopping locally. As I think most people have seen the posters and other things that come out with, you spend $1 locally, that money stays in the community. If you spend it at a chain store, most of it leaves the community. That's why all of our members are local businesses, locally owned, and the decisions are made locally. And that's critical. Most of the businesses are also committed to various sustainability efforts, from recycling to energy efficiency, things of that nature. And it's highlighted in the book what those businesses do on the sustainability front. But we're really an educational organization, educating people about why it's important to shop local. And the why really is so that the dollars do stay in the community far more. And you employ more local people. And wages will be higher with local businesses on average. Because of that, that increases the spending power of the community and making wise choices. I mean, I've always said as a retailer, the most powerful thing in the economy are the consumers, at least in our economy. And the better choices made by consumers can change the world, hands down. And that's the biggest thing that will make more sustainable products that aren't disposable. How? People changing their habits and demand from customers. From the smallest businesses to the largest corporations out there, the one thing they listen to is their customers. Because without them, there's no business.
Right. And I think I've seen you guys set up at events and stuff. You might have booths out there, Buy Local.
Tabling, one, to sell more of the coupon books and raise awareness, but also just get people in the mindset of thinking about their purchases before they make them. And that's quite important more and more these days. It's interesting because there are certain products you just can't even buy locally hardly at all. Interesting example, a few months ago, I needed a small part for my washing machine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could have ordered it online and waited a week to get it, but my clothes were dirty. Unfortunately, there is only one store left in Olympia that stocks the parts, McKinney's Appliance, that is locally owned and been locally operated for many years. They stock the parts.
Right there on Harrison.
Yes, they're on Harrison here, and then they're out Martin Way and Lacey, and that's actually where the parts were at the time, at least. So I went out there. I mean, another example from our own businesses over the years, when we had Alpine Experience, people would come in with their Coleman stove parts, looking for lantern and stove parts. And we didn't sell Coleman because Coleman went a few years back and sold to all the chain stores. The chain stores don't stock parts. They stock just the stoves, just the lanterns, and only in season. So where do you get the parts? I can't stock just the parts. But customers got more and more frustrated, and I had to explain to them, well, where'd you buy that stove? Well, I got it at Walmart. Well, okay, did you go to Walmart looking for the parts? I mean, bluntly, that's the way it is. We believe as local businesses that we need to service the stuff we sell, not just sell it, particularly when we talk about sustainability. Mm-hmm. We don't want to throw away that stove and buy a new one. We want it to last for year after year after year. That means having parts and service in addition to just the sales.
Yeah, that's a good point, because, you know, a lot of people here are environmental, and they want to be environmental, and they try to be environmental, but sometimes, you know, everything's against you. You're going to have to order a part from China, and then you're going to have to, you know, contribute to all the shipping and all the, you know, the oil that goes into, you know, shipping that part or that new washing machine, because you can't get a part for the old one.
Yeah, so. And that's becoming more and more of a challenge, because shopping locally is actually more difficult than it was 10 years ago. One, a lot of the local stores have had to go out of business. And two, a lot of products, because of where they're distributed, just aren't available locally. Try and find a good price on hospital scrubs at a local business. It's almost impossible, in Olympia at least. And we really don't want people to have to drive to Tacoma and Seattle to buy things, or be forced to go to the internet. I think the internet is changing business dramatically, and we're not going to stop that. But there are ways that local businesses can adapt and make themselves more relevant, more savvy, and more applicable to people's lives, even in a digital age.
Yeah. You help people, just help them get on the internet if they're not on the internet. They need to be there.
A longtime friend of mine that owned Fireside Bookstore until a year or two ago in the summer, Jane Leclerc, who retired from the business. And I just saw Jane yesterday actually shopping. And what was fascinating was her business, a local small bookstore, less than 800 square feet, managed to survive year after year after year and actually thrive pretty well. Why? Because of Jane and the suggestions. Not even the Amazon can make suggestions about what to read based on your tastes and habits like Jane can. And one Christmas, I think it was 3 or 4 years back, she did 2,500 special orders from Thanksgiving to Christmas. That's more books than she sells in a month or two in the summer. All special orders because people didn't want to go online where books are readily available, and they wanted to shop locally. And that's something that we as small business owners have to do, is engage our customers and build that trust and that commitment so that they continue to shop with us. I always say it's not good enough just to be local. You also have to be good at what you do. Mm-hmm. And so while I've always prided that our businesses are locally owned and locally operated, I also say we have to be good to be competitive. We have to earn the business from our customers and do a great job for them, because great customer service is something people will flock to more than just being local.
And now it's November, and Christmas is coming, and we want those people to go out there, and we want them to shop downtown. We want them to go to Archibald. We want them to go, what is the new toy store down there?
Captain Little.
Is it Captain Little? And we want them to use those dollars here in Olympia. What is the area for buy local here? How far do we go?
It's a very good question, because we're actually the buy local program of South Sound. Now, what does South Sound encompass? For me, it's all the way to Fife, so Tacoma's okay. But really what we're talking about mainly is Thurston County. But what's interesting is we have some members, and there's a lot of great local businesses in Shelton. And Shelton's kind of an island of Mason County, because North Mason and South Mason are really kind of separate in many ways. Also, our reach really is towards Aberdeen, Centralia, Southwest Washington to an extent. So when we say South Sound, we're regional. We want to promote and support and have members from the businesses in Yelm, in Tenino. There's some, that Mexican restaurant in Tenino I still haven't tried, but keep hearing amazing things about. And the folks in Tenino are doing a lot of stuff for their own local businesses. Support that. You know, all of our South County cities, Lacey has a great deal of local businesses as well. It's not just downtown Olympia. That downtown Olympia has been a retail heart for a century. That was kind of taken by the malls, but there's still a lot of retail there. But in reality, small businesses are located all over, and we want South Sound to be fairly broad, really, regional in nature.
So there's a place on the web that people can look up all of the people that are members of the Buy Local program, correct? So if they're watching the show and they want to find which businesses are local, and they can't just tell by the name, or you know, then they can just go to your website and look them up.
Yeah, to an extent, where we've got more and more on there. But as I say, you know, and this is 4 or 5 year old data, but the city of Olympia had 6,000 business licenses issued, and the estimate was 80% of those were small businesses. Now, some are consulting firms and lobbyists, so they aren't retail or restaurant or service businesses. But when you think about, you know, even a couple thousand in Olympia alone, then you look at Lacey, Thurston County, we have between 150-ish members each year, topped out at 200. There are thousands of additional local businesses that, one, we haven't reached yet, but also that people can find. We want them to shop in those businesses as well as our members out there. We would love for everybody to be a member, but there's a lot of local businesses out there.
And you need to just continue to reach out to those local businesses. So if they're watching the show and they're finding out about Buy Local for the first time, they need to go to your website, sustainablesouthsound.org.
Yep. And you can link right through to the Buy Local page.
All
about the program. And our goal in 2015 is really to connect our members a lot more to each other. And connect those members to the public in new and different ways. There is everything from smartphone apps potential out there to, we're talking about a print publication going out. What we really want to do is take the coupon book and find ways to make it more year-round, or make it so our members have access to customers more year-round. It's something that you couldn't print more than once a year. It's not inexpensive to design and print a book like this, but it's important. And but even beyond that, you know, I admit, and yeah, I can say this, I think. You know, are you familiar with Small Business Saturday?
No.
It's something American Express has done for the last 5 or 6 years.
That kind of rings a bell.
That they talk about, on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, go shop at all the local businesses as Small Business Saturday, and American Express has some rebates and other things. And I admit, while I lauded the concept as a small business person, I was always slightly offended by American Express. One, why do I have to give up the day after Thanksgiving as a shopping day to the big chain stores? I'm better than them, for gosh sakes. And we can we can compete with them if we just do. And more importantly, American Express, great. Get people to pat themselves on the back for shopping at local businesses that day. But guess what? If the other 364 days of the year they aren't shopping locally, those small businesses won't be here next year. So I always say Small Business Saturday should be every day, and I wish American Express would join us in that effort as well.
Maybe they could have one day that's the big business day per year.
Yeah, there it is, and the rest of them are for local business because, you know, we talk about, and I hate the word Black Friday, because one, black, you know, I understand the concept and where it came from, and the red and the black for businesses, but black just sounds like, you know, not a happy thing. And it was actually a few years back at Alpine Experience in celebration of winter, we invented White Friday. No getting up at ungodly hours of the morning and no shopping on Thursday ever. Come on in and hang out with us. And actually, it was quite successful. I think shoppers out there are definitely in the mindset that that Thanksgiving weekend is too hyped, too promoted, too over the top. In fact, I've seen data that shows that electronic sales are way down in September and October now because people aren't buying gifts at Black Friday specials. They're buying stuff for themselves. Now, it is hard to buy a laptop locally. There aren't local businesses that sell laptops. And laptops are something that's a lot of people use still. I do. So it's interesting trying to make those buying choices. And actually, if you go to Fourth Dimension, I think they have some laptops now, or the other guys, or some of the local computer companies. What's great about them, to be honest, is their knowledge and expertise, because they will tell you when it is a better deal to go shopping elsewhere. And they'll actually send you for a printer but you can still use them for their expertise in the things you can. I mean, I think a great business that's transformed themselves over the years is Desco Electronics on the west side. They've stayed in business for so long and reinvented themselves more to the service side, the installation side, and have managed to effectively compete with people like Best Buy. Even Circuit City couldn't survive against Best Buy. And Silo, remember them?
Nope. Silo.
I'm dating myself. That was 18 years ago.
I wasn't here 18 years.
I know this because my original, very first retail business went into a vacated Silo space on the west side of Olympia, where the Outback Steakhouse was. They went out of business overnight. Our employees showed up, locked out, and that was it. And it's a sad day when that happens, but the big chains, that can happen.
Before the show, we were talking about how a lot of the local businesses have closed down. And so that's another reason to buy local, because we don't want these local businesses that are employing local people who are keeping our money here to go out of business. And so...
and you know, there's actually a lot of myths out there about local businesses. And I cringe sometimes when I see a TV show or somebody gets thinking about, well, you need to shop locally. I know it costs a little more. Well, I have to say, in my experience at retail, my products were never more expensive than a chain store. Never. Why? Because most of the products, unless they're locally made, the manufacturer sets the retail price, and everybody, sells for that, and they don't sell to the huge discounters. I mean, one of the businesses we lost this year was the Olympic Wine Merchant on 4th Avenue in downtown, closed first of the year. Yes, within 6 or 8 months, I think, of Total Wine opening on the west side.
Oh yeah.
And what's interesting though is when I went and looked and checked and compared, Olympic Wine Merchant had better pricing. Better pricing on most of the wines that I would have bought. There were some gimmick things and stuff like that, but I was very disappointed that, wait a minute, it's not cheaper at the big box store. And I don't know what happened, but at least when I used to walk 2 blocks from my house to the local liquor store, okay, it was one price. After liquor suddenly became available in chain stores, all the prices went up, didn't they?
I remember that.
Wow, that's the opposite of what they said would happen. I mean, it was interesting because we lost a lot of local jobs in that deal, and I'm not sure the public has gotten that much benefit. Hate to speak politically here, but
they've just, I don't know, it's more convenient, but it's more expensive, Anyway, let's move back to this coupon book, and I wanted to ask, where can people get one of these?
Well, it's interesting because right now, if you can find a 2014 book, you notice it says $25 on it?
That's right.
They're $10, and the coupons are still good for a couple of months.
There you go.
So,
discount coupon book.
And they're available from a lot of the retailers in them. I know like Oli Supply, I know like the Olympia Food Cop is one of our big sellers. But in reality, to be honest, if you're getting ready to buy a coupon book, I would wait 3 or 4 weeks. Because the 2015 book is out in time for Thanksgiving.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, this show's going to be airing in November, so let's tell them where they can get the 2015s.
The 2015 book, actually, and you may check because I think Roosevelt Elementary School, and I don't have the rest of the list because we're still signing them up. Any number of the school PTAs are going to be selling them as fundraisers.
Good.
Yep. So like we have wholesale accounts, they'll be able to earn something off of them, and we'll be able to get them books. They'll actually be out selling in November. And so yeah, if there's any schools looking for fundraisers, you can still contact us, and you can sell the books through your students and then earn money for doing so, and we'll have those books available right before Thanksgiving. Also, the day before Thanksgiving, we'll be delivering books to most of our members that sell the books. Not all the members sell the books. It's just not feasible in many places.
I see.
But a lot of them will be. And so a lot of your core businesses, you'll be able to buy them at. In addition, we do a big kickoff weekend. We'll be a part of Downtown for the Holidays on Sunday,
excellent.
November 30th. Yeah. We're actually going to be, I think, out in under a tent on Legion Way with the whole Buy Local movement in front of Photos for Santa, and just down from the gingerbread, and right near where the carolers and the parade will be that day. We'll have the 2015 book for the first weekend for sale direct to consumers, and we're actually going to have canvas shopping bags, reusable canvas shopping bags with the book cover, some things on it, and highlighting our premier members, and those will be free when you buy a book. While supplies last.
$25 for the coupon books again?
Yep, $25, same price. Okay. There is a couple of $1,000s worth of coupons in them.
Nice.
It's interesting, there are actually coupons in the book where you can save more than $25 with a single coupon.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we actually, I think last year at Alpine Experience, we sold a couple of dozen books at the front counter in December by explaining to people, if you buy, you'll get the book free because your discount on socks is more than the cost of the book.
There you go.
So, and we're trying to get people to buy their books early and start using their coupons early. Why? The businesses can use it. They really can.
Good. Well, and I'm happy to say that TCTV is a member of Buy Local as of last week.
As of last week, yes. So.
And so we'll probably be in the book. And also, you talked about downtown for the holidays. We are going to be there shooting the parade. So when you're at the Buy Local book or Buy Local booth buying your coupon book, you can come over to our TCTV truck and do a shout out on TCTV.
Excellent. We're also as we've got some of our key premier members out there right now that are our biggest members. Olympia has always been a longtime member. Just last week they joined our premier members along with WCCU and the banking community. So of interest, Dino's Coffee on the west side has stepped up to be a premier member, as well as Olympia Soaps. African soap made locally here in, I think they're technically in Tumwater, the county, but great stuff. I've even been using it lately. And they've stepped up big. They're big in the community here anyway. But what's really interesting is our last premier member, Harlequin Productions. You mentioned Harlequin, actually. They'll have several coupons in the book. We changed them up this year, too. I think we got a free drink at concessions.
Ooh, is one of the coupons in there?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
No, this is highlights of 2015. And also what's interesting is Harlequin's never sold the book. But we're going to this year. In fact, we're challenging them to try and sell 100 books to their subscribers. So the day after Thanksgiving, we're going to put 100 books in the lobby and see how quickly that pile can dwindle. But Harlequin will be using it as a fundraiser as well, because they earn part of the book sales. So.
Other nonprofit organizations can also do this fundraiser we're talking about, right?
Yes, and we are happy to get them on board. In fact, we think it's one of the best ways to sell the book because it earns money for them and it gets our book out there.
We're going to have to look into it for TCTV.
Yeah. So.
I wanted to move on to some of the other things that Sustainable South Sound does because we don't have a lot of time left in the show. But aside from the Buy Local program, you also have your local food systems, which provides community gardens, different community gardens throughout Olympia and Lacey. And
Yep, there's the Wendell Berry Garden in Olympia, the Lacey Community Garden, and a couple of others we're doing now. That's been going for several years. We provide insurance for the gardeners and things of that nature, and coordination and education and things. They all pay a fee to be members of the gardens. In addition, though, local food systems expanded. There was a food summit a year and a half, 2 years ago, about how we provide food locally and how far the supply lines have to stretch. Sustainable South Sound was mainly behind, and we were the fiscal agent for the whole food summit. And now there's a local food plan coming out and a lot of efforts there. And what's interesting is the local food systems program is slowly growing right now, and right now we want to connect it more to the Buy Local program because all of those local farms and produce stands need to be members and highlighted in new ways out there because eating locally is so much healthier and better, and to be honest, it defies that myth too. I find it's not more expensive. Fresh.
Well, I don't know why it should be. I mean, you're paying for all that transportation of the food. I mean, shouldn't we be saving money, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was actually in a Cajun cooking contest at Arts Walk this fall, and I managed to get almost everything I could from local suppliers. The farmers market actually provided almost everything I needed downtown, from sausage to seafood to vegetables, and it's great. And it just feels good shopping locally, too.
These community gardens, they're just it would be for just citizens, individuals, right?
Well, they need to commit to a season because what they do is they share the labor. So when you sign up and become a member of the garden, every week you've got to be there helping and you get a share of the proceeds of the garden. We're trying Sustainable South Sound's only role is really to be the fiscal agent, provide them with the insurance and the advice, and the gardens are self-producing. Now, the Wendell Berry Garden, I know, I don't remember the exact number, but it was over a ton of food, also went to the food bank.
Nice.
Excess from their garden, and that's another great thing. I was actually just out 2 weeks ago walking some undeveloped park property with one of our city council members. I took him along so I didn't get trespassed or anything by the city. There's an apple orchard in southeast Olympia in the middle of an undeveloped park. So The apples are this big and beautiful. And I'm like, wait a minute. Even if we don't develop a park for 10 years, can't we get an orchardist in, get the apples going, and provide food to the food bank with us?
Yeah.
What a great idea, you know? And there's lots of opportunities like that in the community if we just jump on them. Local food systems will be evolving and will be a critical issue for the county over the next few years. And so Sustainable South Sound will maintain its involvement there and probably grow it.
So you're trying to grow this local food systems, program under the Sustainable South Sound. But right now you have 3 community gardens.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the it's Lacey Crossroads Community Garden. Then you have Olympia Community Garden and the Wendell-Berry
Garden. Yep.
Yeah. And these are just like neighborhood parks or attached to neighborhood parks.
Some of them are just empty parcels. I mean, the Lacey Crossroads is a commercial parcel that hasn't been developed. The Wendell-Berry is private land that's been leased inexpensively from the property owners. There are other community gardens that we don't oversee specifically, but have kind of had a hand in promoting and pushing. Like I think right near Sunrise Park in the city of Olympia, there's a community garden there that's connected to one of the low-income housing projects. It's wonderful. And we'd love to be able to get more and more community gardens going. Right now, actually, the local food systems, they are doing a test project this year to determine whether or not this community could produce enough grain to support itself by doing small grain plots in various areas. And I'm not the expert on this, but doing small grains and then doing the math to figure out how many acres in production we would need. And so they've got tiny plats, even the community gardens, going with grains. And at the end of the season, they're going to do the weigh out and check and see whether or not could we produce enough grains for the population locally. That'd be amazing if we could.
When they have these community gardens, where does the watering come from? Do they have cisterns set up? Do they have...
That's one of the critical things is water, and usually they actually have a well or some water access to it. That's one thing that actually, like in Lacey, I think the property owner provided that. And at the other gardens, it was already accessible or close. But sometimes that's the most critical thing is we've got to have water service. And that's one where at times you look towards the city of Olympia or Thurston County to be a partner in those ways because they operate those utilities.
And do they tend to donate that water? I mean, somebody's got to pay for it.
They're very supportive of many ways. Sometimes you have to pay for the water, but there's the hookup fees, things like that. It's City of Olympia and Thurston County have been very supportive of the food system movements lately. It's been amazing and wonderful to see the county commissioners come on board to the importance of local agriculture and local food systems. And it's been blossoming probably 5 years now, and I think we're at a critical mass where we're going to see more and more of it. And that's not just vegetables, it's meats. The Olympia Meat Guild is up and going.
Nice.
You know, and may have a storefront one of these days. I mean, when you look at our local butcher shops, they should be doing a lot of business, and they do a lot of business, but we need to focus on them even more because the price of meat's skyrocketing out there.
And that's another thing with the transportation and the cost in that and everything, and we've got plenty of that.
I mean, one of our fun members is Eastside Big Tom's. And Michael Fritsch there told me that his price of meat has gone up 38% since January 1. And he's finally, I saw he just did a price increase of about 25 cents. They're having to absorb a lot of those price increases because you just can't increase food costs that much out there. I mean, it's like, and if you look at restaurants, look at the price of breakfast. Gone way, way up the last 5 years because cost of food's gone up.
Well, we could keep talking, but we have to close the show because we're running out of time quickly. But so people that want to get involved with one of those community gardens, go to sustainablesouthsound.org, and I think the plot is $50 for them to, or is that changing?
It varies. I think it changes more than that for some of the gardens. It depends.
All right. Well, Joe, thanks for joining us on Mission Nonprofit. We'll see you next month. Thanks for watching. If you know of a local nonprofit that's making a difference in our community, give us a call at 956-3100 extension 103 or send an email to rkam@tctv.net.